I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. Banks are going bust. We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller. All we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore! I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore! I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore! I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell! And I'm not going to take this anymore!
Right, that was a brand new jingle. That's been kicked together by our mate Chris, who's come down through the Bob Earthkeeper crew. So yeah, I thought I'd stick that earlier on. Chris has joined us, so why not? That came into us today, so big thanks to that and everybody else who's either producing us music and jingles or actually allowing us to use their music on the radio. I know it works both ways. I know people say, oh, well, you're promoting them by playing them, but hey, come on, it's a two-way stream. So yeah, big thanks to all them people, and I could go down the list, but it's getting quite big. But like Chris, who's just come along making jingles up, one I am going to mention is Grimy Weasel, who came to us just recently. I played all his stuff running the other night. I hope some of you caught that. I will do it again, without a doubt. He's come in. Mick Volotov. Go on, help me. Volotov? No. Molotov. There we go. Thank you, crew.
It sounds like a Jewish wedding.
It does, doesn't it? The Vostok Molotov crew. It does, doesn't it? The Friday crew. It does, you know. It does sound like a group of Russian dissidents, doesn't it? So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff anyway. And again, we just mentioned Vostok putting music there with us, and Zach and Albert Clark, SGB, S-Man. S-Man's got a bit of a thing going up in Manchester. I've posted that on the Facebook group just recently. So that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I've had a bit of good news.
Zack and whose army? What army?
On what army? Zack and what army? Zack's the guy with the secret, the magical turtle. Little magical turtle. So yeah, quite a funny dude, actually. Great talent. Now, where was I going to go? Yeah, I've had a bit of cracking news. Well, it's not good news, it's bad news, really. I mean, the good way to deal with what I'm talking to you about is to never get involved in the first place. That would be a good move. But I had complaints against the police of basically, as they worded it, assault. I said not necessarily they assaulted, but I used their words. They were violent and aggressive towards me. They were pushing me around. They didn't beat me up or anything like that, but they were knocking me about after I'd had an armed robbery at my house. Because I'm involved quite heavily in hydroponics and aquaponics, more so the aquaponics, and I have used cannabis for medical use. I've never made any, I've never denied that. To anybody, police, doctors, ambulances, I have been cured by cannabis. Or I should say I am able-bodied through the use of cannabis. I don't know whether you can ever cure things or not sure of that yet. But yeah, it sorted me out. And obviously these gangsters put two and two together and they smashed into our home one night with torture equipment. Caught me, you might say, with my pants down. Well, not even with my pants down. They caught me naked asleep in bed. And they smashed away into my house, literally, and bludgeoned me to the ground. I didn't give up. I kept taking it. Basically, I think they got sick of a naked, red-haired man throwing themselves at them. They got sick of knocking me over. They got sick of beating me up, and they left. So yeah, after that, the police were called, or during that, the police were called. If they hadn't have been called, you know, I probably would have been, well, I don't know, they were leaving anyway, I don't really know, but yeah, they came with equipment to torture me for money, and what would we be talking out here? Maximum, if I hadn't got a big grow farm, which I haven't, I had several police then in my house after that. If I had that a big grow off, then yeah, I could get that. You know, if I've got hundreds of plants and stuff, then yeah, I could see why I put myself into that position. But being as a cannabis user, no, just because I'd actually opened my mouth and shared my knowledge, basically, I was punished for that. So after that incident, the police came and pushed me about, knocked me about, destroyed the crime scene. Any evidence that could have been gathered by the police was totally and absolutely destroyed by the police that came. They carried out illegal searches of my house. I don't mind them looking for the criminals, but you're not going to find a criminal hidden in my wallet. And one of them was searching my wallet, caught doing it. But because there was no other evidence she was doing that, although I confronted her on video, and you don't have to be a genius to see that woman's face was the face of sheer guilt. And I've got all this on video. So I give the video to the police in the hope that they would see their actions. I am the victim in this case. My house has been raided by armed robbers, basically, gangsters, thugs, that's what they are, dressed as the police. This was a gang who was going around raiding cannabis growers and cannabis users. I believe it's called taxing. And they think they're big hard men because they go and beat up women and children and torture. They've actually tortured children, this gang, to get these people to reveal the money they haven't got. You know, I don't know who's the worst. I don't know who was the worst, the police or the gangsters. At least the gangsters, once they thought they'd got what they needed, they ran away. The police continued to harass me for days and days, weeks, months afterwards. Eventually the CID came and they were very apologetic. I now know he was a smooth over man. Thankfully I have got him recorded on the telephone, and the lady who came with him recorded on the telephone, telling me to continue to grow cannabis, to grow more cannabis because they needed people like me. I was told that by the head of CID at Landline, and I'm quite willing to leave any statements if the police want to catch me regarding this. They asked me to keep my ear to the ground and report to the police because the police want to catch these gangsters. They told me they weren't really interested in small-time cannabis users or growers who were doing it on medical grounds, but they wanted to remove this gangster element. I have to agree with them. I really do. Especially now, after this event, that the 2 police women that were killed over a drugs war, where an assassin basically thought he was being arrested. The police were coming for him and killed them. He killed them.
Paul, are they going to hand out scratch and sniff cards for criminals so you can find these violent gangsters instead of finding cannabis factories? I
know you might. It's too many people. They can put a joke upon this, but if you're a cannabis user and you're not doing anything wrong, the police should be protecting them. These people shouldn't be terrified to even contact the police, Prajna. These people are getting beaten up and tortured in their home, and they can't go to the police because they're under the impression the police will prosecute them for having cannabis, because they could seem to be criminals. These people are not criminals. Much the police then smashed hell out of my house in a raid. Now bear in mind, that's right, I'm not being paid by them, but I was quite willing to work with the head of CID in finding out as much information I could about these cutthroat torturers of men, women and children. That's who they are. They're not big hard men. They're weak children. That's all they are. Childlike, infantile, demonic. They're lost. They think that they can go and destroy somebody's life for a few pounds, and that's okay. That's okay. I now know who they are. Do you know what I'm going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. Nothing. I would have reported it. I would have given the information to the police. In fact, that information was given to the police, and the police never acted upon it. They didn't do anything. My neighbours came out to aid as best they possibly could. They give descriptions of them to the police. They described to the police. When the police said, what did they look like? They said, just look like you. The police took this as an insult and thought my neighbours and myself were giving them grief. They weren't prepared to admit that there was a gang of lads. Either they are the police or they were dressed as the police. They weren't prepared to do it. Anyway, I put a complaint in following the Police Complaints Commission. Is it Police Complaints Commission? That's right, Independent Police Complaints Commission. And they came round and they interviewed me, and Nigel and Susan was here, and we recorded the interview. And they have found that they didn't use undue violence against me. Bear in mind, I'm the victim and they've abused me in my home, but that's all right, they're saying. Also that they didn't carry out a search while they were in the property. They entered under Section 17. My answer would be, well, why didn't you carry out a search of the property? You came in under Section 17 because you were wronged by my ex-wife. Anyway, they have found that the police did not carry out a further investigation. They didn't investigate what happened here. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I was convinced that this had something to do with the police. All along, I just knew that there was some connections involved. Again, I didn't know what they were or how. After we did the allotment action, police, not the hierarchy within the police, just the little police, what do we used to call them, wooden tops, you know, the police minions. They also smashed into my house again under Section 17, where they removed the cannabis that was growing here under instruction of the head of CID of Ashton-under-Lyne. So they've got a bit of a problem there. I haven't revealed all this information that I've actually got on the workings of the police in my local area so far. I mean, there are people who have been made aware of it. Nigel's one of them. Basically for my own protection. Literally for my protection, because we know what they're like. At least a percentage of them raided this house for no other reason at all that we had the action at Ashton Allotment. The main reason why no charges were ever brought is they entered the property illegally, completely illegally, because we had smoke coming out of a chimney. Of course, smoke coming out of a chimney means there's people at risk. No, it doesn't. It never has done. It never will. So they illegally entered the property under Section 17. Now bear in mind, I don't even live in that country. At the time, I'm not even living in this country. and then they issue warrants for my arrest, knowing I was not in the country, knowing it could possibly have nothing to do with me whatsoever, and it's impossible to do somebody for something when they're not actually in that country. They wouldn't listen, they weren't interested, they hounded me for nearly 4 months while I was in Europe, until eventually they started to bully my family and my friends with threatening to arrest them, report these incidents to their employees, get them removed from work. This all went on. Literally just sheer bully boy tactics, until eventually I did come back to the UK. I handed myself into a police station where they held me, knowing of my arthritic problems, with people with me as witnesses, one being Nigel Rowlands, ex-councillor. They didn't know that at the time, no. It was quite a smooth move, where I explained my condition to them. And the way they are at work, they completely ignored what I had to say. They completely ignored me, locked me in a cell for 7 hours, where I was in considerable discomfort when I came out. And by locked in a cell for 7 hours, I mean just that. Nothing. No water, no food, no contact, nothing at all, no heating, freezing cold for 7 hours. If anybody's ever suffered from any kind of rheumatoid arthritis, you will know that cold conditions can make it very severe. I have it in my spine. So you can, I mean, I'm not trying to play any old poor me here. I'm not. I deal with it. I move along with it. I'm useful. On the drugs that they give me, I become a violent, sadistic fucker. There is no choice for me. There is no choice. I'd sooner be useful to our society and break their so-called law. Act. Let me remind you, Misuse of Drugs Act. Anyway, they have actually found that the police did not act accordingly, basically. That's it. They're not going to do anything about it. That's the Police Complaints Commission. Yeah, right, okay, so they did, what are you going to do? Nothing. Yeah, but what are you going to do? Nothing. What's the point in the Police Complaints Commission? I can now tell you, absolutely fuck all. No, they've found it wrong, and guess what they've done? They've gone back to the sergeant, the head of the police at Ashton-under-Lyne, who'd I'd given the information to, and he'd already said his officers acted perfectly all right. They've gone back and told him, and he said, fuck you. Not going to do anything. Nothing. So I am lucky now to take the rest of the evidence that I've actually got: illegal entry of my home, destruction of my property. They even smashed up my radio equipment. Smashed up radio equipment. Took doors off into rooms that there's no need to take them off. I just don't think they were clever enough to work out which side the door was the handle. Literally, they've torn doors off at the hinges because they couldn't turn the handle and open the door. And these are people we're dealing with. Yeah, these aren't just people who've become lost in society. These people are fucking stupid. You couldn't give them a job anywhere else. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not having a go at them police constables out there who are genuinely like the head of CID was. With me at the time, I thought he was dead genuine. I really did. No, he wasn't. He was a lying, cheating bastard, because he should have stood forward. He should have come forward when that happened, and he didn't. He should have exonerated me, and he didn't. Because they just used me. They just used me to try and get at these gangsters. And do you know what happened? Because they didn't work with us, there's 2 dead police women. We tried to avoid that here by working with them. And what did they do? They turned it into a paramilitary exercise. That's what they do. What I didn't know is that firearms officers were brought to my property. I've only just found this out. Apparently, the officers that came into my property were firearms officers. There were no officers ever informed me that firearms officers were present on this property at that time. I was never informed of any of that. Yeah, their own documentation, which I've got here, anybody can look at it. You read through it. They're just lying, cheating thugs. I am 100% now convinced that those police officers that raided my house were involved with the first raid, and they were all linked to the same people who were stealing the fucking money off me, who had me over for 2.5 years. I know who you are. I know how you did it. I know how you got into my property. I know the little tow rags that you actually used to originally come here. Yeah, I know the connection through the police that you've actually used, a policewoman that actually abused me for 7 hours. I know. I've got you. And I've got concrete evidence to prove you did it. In your lying, cheating, thieving little way. What for? Because you cannot accept the truth that you're thieving, lying, That's what they did. So I've held back with all this until certain things happened. People have asked me why I didn't release this video and stuff, and why, because it's traumatic to me. It destroyed everything I know, and it's also enlightened me to the truth that my family were just the same as them thugs that came in the door. Do you know what I like about the robbers who came to actually abuse me and to torture me that night? They were up front. They didn't try and manipulate me and I'd take you any days, lads. I'd take you over my family, over the police, and over 95% of the people I know. Because at least you were straight with me. Oh yeah, you wanted to come and beat the fuck out of me. You didn't make no... And I'd sooner have that. I'd sooner people be dead straight with me. I know I'm asking a lot. I know. I realise that now. I really do. Because most people out there, you wouldn't know what it was to be honest and truthful to yourself if it was chewing on your own anus right now. If I come there and ram my head right up your backside, you wouldn't even notice it. You wouldn't notice it. That's why I don't blame them. I don't blame them people anymore. Yeah, they live like that. I don't think we've got any right to try and change them any longer. I really don't. Now, I could be mistaken there. I have been mistaken many times before. I don't think we've got a right to try and change these people. I really don't. So, Police Complaints Commission, waste of time. If anybody knows another way, I've got at least another 7, maybe 8 complaints I can put in against... Oh, God, no, there's more than that. There's numerous officers involved in this, what's actually happened. They are being reluctant to put the names forward now. I probably will be able to get those names through the police complaints and then drop my complaint, and then I don't know if I should take out private thing. I don't know. I don't know what the next move is. Like I say, I've used the opportunity to do my own personal research, and it's a complete and utter waste of time. They don't do anything, and their ill action has ended up with 2 dead policewomen. I don't want that. I do not want that to be happening on the streets of any country. I don't want them turning our homes into a battle zone, and that's what they're doing. That's what they're orchestrating. That's what they're trying to do. They're only interested in, it's a violent crime related to drugs. Okay, cannabis is not a drug. Can we just change this in people's heads? It is not a drug. So I don't know where they're getting off there, but I'm not afraid of what they can do to me. They don't scare me anymore. They really don't. Like I say, they've broken into my house, they've beat me up in the frigging night, they've locked me in a cell, you know, they've kicked me out of the country, they've refused me to come back, they've insisted that I should come back, they've told me that I'd be arrested if I stay, they've told me I'd be arrested if I leave. It's preposterous. It is fucking preposterous. So, if this kind of stuff does go on in Iraq and around the world, but it's also happening on our doorstep, we're under what Nigel actually said to me earlier, we're under national punishment. Everybody in the country is currently being punished one way or another. And please don't think people are in a worse situation than you. Don't think, oh, well, it's worse for them, I'm all right. It could be worse for me, because it will be worse for you very soon. Don't go there. Don't go there. Let's stand. Let's make a little stand of unity. I think that's where we've got to go. So that's my little bit of info I've got you regarding the Police Independent Complaints Commission. Absolute fucking waste of your time and energy. You'd be better going selling cut flowers door to door and telling people about that. You'd get a lot further. You really would. Waste of your time and effort. Sack them. I'm saying that. If you have got complaints and you are putting them through there, make sure you complain about every single thing as a separate complaint. Every officer. I complained about 6 officers. They've only mentioned about 3 of the officers who were there, and the conduct of the other officers lying to me. I've got them lying to me. Blatantly lying to me. He was telling me he could see what another officer was doing. I mean, this policeman's Robocop. He could see straight through walls. He can actually see through walls. Lying, cheating, bang to rights. What do they do? They find in their favour and say, well, they could have investigated it better. You mean you let them get away and you did nothing? They did nothing. You know why? Because my neighbours are Asian. You know, these coppers aren't only incompetent, they're racist. They're racist. Oh, Asian man can't give it. What are you talking about? What you can't do, the man next door is he's kind of he could be their boss at any moment. As far as education's concerned, you need to kind of grow up, you lads, and start listening to the educated, rather than going round and infringing your authority through violence. That is not serving the public, and I was not served in my property. I admit I could have handled it a bit better, but in my own defence, I was attacked by men dressed as the police, and then the police came and attacked me again. They should have been sympathetic to me. They're being paid to deal with victims, not create them. And they created, or at least compounded a victim. They then abandoned the property after the armed robbery. The police, they actually left and just left us here with no back door, nothing at all, just sat here after being attacked by men in the house. Like I say, now I've joined the dots together. And I know who you are. I know who you are. That's a big level of the playing field, you see. When you get masked men in your house and you don't know who they are, right, it throws you off a little bit. But I know who they are. I really do. I'm keeping this information to myself. I'm not giving these names out because I've got people who think that it would help me for these people to be shot in the head. That's not going to benefit me or them. That's not how I do things. These people should have a very long life here on earth. Very long life. They have no right to take their lives. But they will have to learn through their own actions now how to remove what I've put upon them. I ain't going to touch you. You know who you are. And you know I know. You know I saw the terror in your eyes and I recognised you. Now, it's no doubt. I know who you are. I know who you are. How does it feel? How does it feel? I hope they hear this. I hope they hear this. I really do. So yeah, the ones of you of that same group that are hanging around on the Facebook groups that we've been following, and I've been tracking you for a number of months and a number of weeks, the one using fake IDs to come onto the groups and gather information about me, be my fucking guest. You've been bagged. Proper. Working with abused children, making sure you stay in those realms of abused children, being paid by the council, hiding underneath it, where you're quite openly to sexualisation of those children yourself. Oh, my rabbit hole goes deep and I ain't afraid of speaking about it anymore. I'm really not. I know what they're doing. And I'm talking about my family. Gotcha. You don't want to make a change, so you're happy to sexualise my grandchildren? Let's find out about it, eh? Let's tell the world about it. I'm not speaking from some farty arse experience which has been sent down the media stream. I'm speaking from my own experience. My experience. And that's what we want Darkcity to be about. You people, Chris and Boris, coming in with Bob recently, reporting what's happening in your area. Reporting. Danny Banning the other day who came in. The guy from Get Out of Jail 3, what's he called? Oz. Oh, forgotten his name.
Ceylon.
I was going to call him Ozon. So yeah, that's kind of my little bit of information. It's good news and it's bad news. Good news is it's over with the Police Commission. I don't have to waste any more of my time working with inside that. That's going to do absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Pointless exercise. Do people get satisfaction within the Police Complaints Committee? I don't know. I've never heard of anybody. There's no action being taken against them officers. There's nothing happening. They're not going to go for retraining. They're just being told, getting a slap on the wrist, just go and do it again. Go and abuse the victims whenever you want to. They're being told that by their authority. So we can't start now having a go at the constable, at the officer on the street, when we do know that their hierarchy is telling them to go and abuse the victim. That it's all right for them to do that. That's fine to do that. You're entering a violent area in case of a violent crime. That was completely rubbish. The police have been informed that the assailants had already left. In fact, they'd been told by the neighbours what direction they'd gone in. They didn't pursue them. They didn't take the registration number of the vehicle. They didn't take any information from them at all. Now, why wouldn't they do that? What reason? Why wouldn't they do that? Because of my attitude at the time? Because they already knew who they were. They don't have to go looking for them. They knew. They already knew who they were. They tell me that there was no tracking on the, nothing on the cameras coming to and from the estate. They tell us they've got them cameras on the estate so they can monitor who goes in and off the estate. Conspiracy? No, the cameras mustn't have been working. They were on all night, they said, but they couldn't see a vehicle leave. Somebody's telling us lies. Somebody's telling us lies. So yeah, my little thing to you lot out there is if anybody knows these, we've got a lot of legal eagles about amongst us, give me another route. Give me another route to take. I've taken one route, it's full of shite. And the second lot I haven't even started with yet. I really haven't started. And they haven't got a leg to stand on. Not a leg to stand on. It was considered by Richard Perry in London to be, and those solicitors that, and I want Diana Ginty and the entire group of solicitors that came across it. This was a vengeful attack by the Masonic Order, quote unquote, a vengeful attack by the Masonic Order. That's what they told me. That's coming from solicitors and barristers, white hats, I think they call them, ones who are in this position who are desperately trying to bring round some just laws, trying to remove these preposterous acts that are basically just making life worse for people. So be on your guard, brothers and sisters. Be on your guard. You know, stay focused on yourself. All that compassion and that love for yourselves. At the end, a lot of noise coming off you there, Norris. I'll tell you, at the end of the day, it's you who sat in that cell on your own. It's you who's got to know it. And I knew I had a couple of good people outside that cell. Susan's joined us. She was one of them. I knew I had good people out there. They knew how to talk to the police. A nursing staff, a counsellor, and a nurse. Okay? They were professional, trained people. The solicitors and everyone that actually came to Ashton Police Station was gobsmacked that they didn't even know their own procedure. None. They didn't even know it. They had arrested a man that was not even in the country and held him for 7 hours just to actually punish me because we took land back. We captured that land. Now, I'm not trying to put anybody off. I'm not trying to use any fire tactics. I'm here, I'm talking to you. Those incidents is the birth of Darkcity Radio. They ain't going to shut me up. They ain't going to silence me. They've drugged me, they've poisoned me, they've smashed up my home, they've driven me from my land, England, my birthland. Well, I say now, fuck them. I've got love, I've got compassion for me, because I need it. You give it to them, what are you going to do with it? I'm going to use it against you. Every single time. Stop eluding yourselves, brothers and sisters. Okay? This is the time of the self-empowered individual. Yes, we can form together into these so-called groups, but we're not a group here. We're a mob. We're a gang. We're an army. We're a mighty force of self-empowered individuals. Doesn't matter how many of us you take down. More will rise to take our place every single time. My message will kindle the spirits of those that have lived just the same as us. And hopefully, they will not have to go through the abuse that we've been through. I do not do this for my children or for my grandchildren or for anyone else. I do this for the child I am. I'm the one I can save. I ain't got a chance with anybody else. Now, a lot of people just say, I'm a rambling idiot. Odin, well done, thanks for your support. That's right, I'm the one who won't put my energy and cast it onto the children in the future. And you say I'm preposterous for doing this. I call you out now openly. Nazi! That's what you are. You're Nazis. You put your energy onto the children and go, well, we are those children of last generation. And I am one who will not stand for it any longer. None. There's one way to shut me up. Kill me. Because, well, there's breath in this body. I will do everything I can possibly do to make sure people like myself get somewhere to speak. We've got a right, just the same as anyone else, through the passage of birth, to have a choice. So I ask that we have a choice and that we release ourselves from the demand that we've lived in for generations. And please, please don't think this old boys' school's going to stop what it's doing just because we've got a bag on them, because we've got an angle on them. Don't think they're going to stop. They're not. They've done it for thousands of years, and they're going to continue. They ain't going to stop overnight. It's going to be a long struggle. But if you're like me, and you've been through the worst of that struggle, come and tell us about it. Because I've got to look where I am now. And for that, as I've said before, I would not change for the world. I would not change anything that's happened to me. Because if I did, I wouldn't be sat in this room, you wouldn't be listening to me, and none of this would be happening right now. I love all of you for coming together and assisting me see the worst shit anyone should ever have to see. It's easy to assault your enemy. It's hard to stand against your own, whoever they may be. So there we go. That's my right then. Come on. You want to have a plan or where do we go? What do we do? What's the next stage? There isn't one. There isn't one, brothers and sisters. It's about you as an individual learning to love yourself. Learning to love yourself and taking a choice. Now, it sounds dead easy, doesn't it? Oh, well, I choose every day. You don't. You really don't. I know it looks that way. And you're willing to defend that choice that you think you've made. That was a demand. That was a demand. You've got people around you and they're saying, we love you. I love you. I love my house. I love my children. I love my job. I love my car. I love my country. Judgment. You don't love them. You're choosing those from the masses of things here to be more worthy of your love than everything else. You must judge them to be more worthy. I hate them people over there. Them people, doesn't matter. You're still judging them then to be less worthy or more worthy of your love. Well, who's your love for? This is what I ask myself. What does love do? It knows no boundaries. It sets my mind free. It sets my mind free. No longer I have to live as a victim. So I don't blame any of them people out there who've done what they've done. I don't. I had to present myself as the victim for that to take place. I did. Oh, it took them 20 odd years to break me. It did. And they were successful. I broke. Oh, I broke all right. I did. Now I'm back. And there ain't nothing anyone can do but me. And I say that's the same for all of you. Look, they're terrified of us being fearless. They think fearless means we're going to attack people and we're going to rob banks because we're not in fear of their law. It's crap. It really is just crap. So yeah, I like people throwing rocks at me. I like people turning around and coming up to us and being all pally and nice and patting me on the back and saying, oh, what a wonderful job you do. Because I watch and bear the fruits. I look at the fruits you bear. Yeah, I've heard people slag some of these people sat off in this room. You know how I turn around to them and say, well, what have you fucking done for Darkcity? What have you done for us? What have you done for us lot working together as self-empowered? Are you self-empowered? What have you done? You've told us you're going to do shit and then you don't do it. You tell people you're going to come on and these people work hard to get your show sorted out. You haven't even got the common courtesy to inform them that you're not going to turn up. Do you know what I say? Strike them off your list. Fuck them. We don't need them. I'm being honest here. We don't need them. Look, they're all welcome. They're all welcome. What to do? To lead us along with the good intentions, to turn up and start harping at us and shouting at us because they haven't done what they said. Oh, I've had a day of it today. But illuminating. illuminating everyone. Everyone is illumination. Sometimes the lessons are like, whoa, could be doing without that. But every single time, whether it's good or bad, learn from it. Learn from it, brothers and sisters. And then hopefully our lessons will be over and we can all run round, fully turned on, calling ourselves morons. Because we're all switched on. Anyway, what do you want to do? Like I say, what do you want us to do with this radio? Do you want us to make it free radio? Do you want to make it free or do you want to pay for it? Well, we can charge you for it. That's dead easy. That'd be so easy to do. Dead simple. Or do you want us to try and make it free? Is that what you really want? Because making it free, I'll tell you, is a lot harder work than following the masses. We can make this just the same as the others. Stick 50 quid a month in the pocket, shove it all up there, and there you go, supporting the corporate media system that we're all pledging to stay away from. Because it sounds like, to me, that we're not sure. What is it we want? Do we want real free radio, run by free men and women who aren't in fear, who aren't going pointing their fingers at others in blame? Because they're not free, they're in blame. You know, the ones that say they did it, they're in judgment. They're not free. And to me, it's simple. I do actually respect that for many of you it's got very, very complicated. Very complicated. And that we are going to have to go around the trees and run around the forest to find the wood. Well, you're going to have to do that for some people. Don't put your demands on us, because they won't work. We're creating something that's different. You know? We're creating something that's different. I can't tell you, because it's never been done. It's never been done. We're creating something different. And what we're all going to have to accept that we're going to have to change a little bit. That includes me, all of us. When I say all, we're all going to have to accept that to have something different, and we might have to change what we're doing. Now, to me, that's very simple. But to some who are well and truly now programmed by the Gladio, look it up, Operation Gladio. Now look at the effects on your brothers and sisters that bullshit of fear doctrination through control has created here. Don't stop blaming the religions. Stop blaming the governments. Stop saying these people aren't doing it right and we could do better. Do better. Do better. Go and do it. Don't wait for them to sort it out because they're never going to do it. It's never going to happen. Never. Oh yeah, don't worry. Once we get something going successful, they'll either attack us or want to take it over. Well, let them take it. Let them take it. We'll do it again and again and again. Because we can. And they can't. Simple. They're unable to come up with a new idea. We are. We are divergent thinkers. We can think outside the box. We can come up with something new. It's simple. Find yourself. Spend a bit of time with you. And unite. Now, I got that from a mate of mine, Itchy Poo. Must be 10 years ago now. Getting on that way. And them words still ring straight through my head. He's talking about America. I'm talking about the UK. Where they've turned our streets into battlegrounds. Where paramilitary organisations now run round armed up, looking for drug killers and druggers and rapists and murderers and paedophiles. Where are they? Where are they? They're creating that system. I'm telling you, you go at a criminal with a gun, he'll come back at you with a gun. You go at him with a bomb, he'll build a bomb. That's what they do. They can't come up with anything new. They just do what they've been taught, what they've been told. They fight fire with fire. They fight war with war. They have judged themselves and they have possessed everything they've come across. It tells me these people are possessed. They're possessed. They're not evil. They're not bad. They're just like us. The men and women of Earth. That's who we all are now. All of us. We are men and women of Earth. It's one family. One planet. one people. Diverse in our culture, diverse in our thinking and our ways. We cover everything. And that is why I suspect we've been divided for so long. If we can accept that right here now on this plane, whatever you call it, whether you call it Earth, creation, you call it a hologramic matrix or a fractal universe, call it what you want. We're all here together now, all of us. Let's rejoice in that. Let's rejoice in our differences. Let's celebrate that we don't know what we're doing, because we are, and we have took on alternative. Let's accept that there's no point defending those alternatives, that they may not work. Why would we defend it? Why would we defend anything? I have asked myself these questions. I asked myself a few questions, to tell you the truth, brothers, sisters. One is, am I prepared to be wrong? Of course I am. Am I capable of creating free internet radio? Don't know. Can't tell you. Looks like we've done it, you see. We've done it. In the sense that it didn't cost anybody else anything. We provided internet radio for everyone that's used it at no extra cost to themselves. Money. Of course, everyone who knows who's been on this crew and has worked with this radio knows it takes a lot of fucking time and energy to make it work. And that's what we deal in here. Time and energy. So, yeah, it's your choice. It's not my choice. It's not a decision I can make. We've tried to put an alternative here. If we want to have free radio, then it's going to take a lot of hard work and it's going to take a lot of dedication. We're almost there. We're almost there. Be prepared to let go of it all and give it up at the moment. Because I will not defend this station. I will not defend it. They want to throw rocks at us, let them throw them. We will not defend. We have nothing to defend from. They are sticks and stones. That's it. Well, do you want me to ramble for another 10 minutes and end the show, or have I silenced everybody? I keep leaving those dramatic...
Oh no, there's plenty to say. In fact, I think Dawn had something to say. I've got a few points on police complaints and that kind of thing, but I think Dawn had something she wanted to get in. Are you still ready to talk about something, Dawn?
Yes, I'm still here. It was really just about the bedroom tax. I want to go back to the subject of the bedroom tax. Seen this article today about insidehousing.co.uk. It's entitled "Bedroom Tax Faces Second Legal Challenge." I'm just going to quickly read it out to you. Human rights group Liberty is launching legal action against the government's penalty for under-occupation of social housing. The organisation said it will seek a judicial review as it believes the penalty, widely known as the bedroom tax, breaches the European Convention on Human Rights. Liberty said it will argue that the policy is discriminatory and would infringe on family life. Under the penalty, which comes in from 1st of April, working age social tenants and housing benefit will have their payments cut if they are deemed to have one or more spare bedrooms under the government's size criteria. Karina Ferguson, legal officer for Liberty, said, "Why is a government that prides itself on prioritising families penalising people merely for having children?" So Liberty is representing 3 people whose families are affected by the changes. Simon Cohen from Gloucestershire, whose 12-year-old son lives with him 4 days a week in his 2-bedroom house. Under the scheme, his son will not be considered part of his household. His room will therefore be deemed unoccupied. Mark Hutchinson from Derbyshire, whose 7-year-old daughter and 8-year-old stepson reside with him at weekends and during school holidays. And Kim Cotton from Hampshire, whose 11-year-old daughter and 8-year-old son live with her every other week. Miss Ferguson said that the penalty would threaten thousands of care arrangements for children. In no way can these loving parents be accused of under-occupying their properties or having spare bedrooms. These rooms are very much their children's and home to many of their belongings. Earlier this month, a separate challenge to the penalty was brought on behalf of 10 vulnerable and disabled children who will be affected by the policy, and the High Court is expected to rule on whether this challenge can proceed within the next few days. So I just want to bring that up, that there is legal action going on against the bedroom tax. And also one more thing was, I'll actually post this link. There was a 42 bedroom tax protests are planned all over the UK on Saturday the 30th of March. I'm going to post the link in the group all over the place, on the Twitter and the Facebook page Dark City Radio, and it'll go on the video description as usual. Okay, if anybody else has anything they want to jump in with before we finish.
Oh, we're not finishing.
You know,
not finished.
Victorian time.
Can I just answer that question from chat that I didn't get? I wasn't looking at the text. I was really staying focused on points that I wanted to get over. Am I saying that the first gangsters that came with the police, they're both gangsters? They are both, the police and the guys who came, they are gangsters. They're all related to, they're all known to one another. Okay, this is what I found out. Right, the gangsters that came are connected together by one gentleman. And they're all connected together, all of them. Now, I can draw the dots between many things, and I don't like doing that. What I am actually saying to you is, quite simply, is the gangsters and the police are exactly the same. They're working for the same group, the same organisations, and those organisations work on fear and terror. They're the same. They terrorise you in your home, you get terrorised on the street. It doesn't matter whether you're being pulled over in your car for an illegal ticket, or you're getting a gun shoved in your face and a jackboot kicking you to the ground. Doesn't matter. Abuse is abuse. Aggression is aggression, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, legal, physical, it doesn't matter. Abuse is abuse, and we've got to stamp it out. That's what I want to get that point over there. The police abuse me, the gangsters abuse me, my families abuse me. My solution is to remove myself from that victim consciousness. That's my solution. They're not having me as a victim. I ain't turning into a persecutor. That's why I said I'm doing nothing. I know, and I'm going to do nothing about it. The stealing, the fraud, the robbing, the cheating, the lying, they know they're doing it. And they know I know. They can't look at me. They can't look at me. They can't even come in my presence. Because they know I've been as honourable and as truthful as I could possibly be. And they are lying, cheating, thieving scum. Okay? Let's get it right. They know that. They know what they've built upon. Whatever they try and portray themselves to be now, whatever lives they're building, they built that on fucking someone else over. That shit rises to the surface. That will rise to the surface. That is ill-ease. Ill-ease. They created ill-ease. And they tried to create it on me. I ain't doing nothing. Keep your ill-ease. Let it manifest in your physical. You think I went and studied all that, people who know me? You think I've spent all that time travelling around the world to learn a healing technique? The technique I've learned is the most powerfulest martial arts that's ever been grounded in this planet, ever. It's the manipulation of direct energy into any position, any place you want. Energy moves at your will, at your consciousness, because you will it to do so. Most of you don't want to accept that. I know I didn't. I know I didn't. Because that means you're responsible for everything in your life. And most of us are not prepared to do that. So I wanted to cover that point. That's all right. And don't worry about time. This is the Dark City. It's your radio. We can run on as long as you want. Even I can get on and ramble on for 45 minutes. We've got all the time in the world. This is Dark City. And talking about time, I don't know if she's there, but I've got a little friend near me who's been really kind of hanging on the line for days, and she never gets a chance because her internet always breaks. So, well, it's there, and it's Nerisse. Are you there, Nerisse?
Yes,
Yay!
I don't know, it must be something with my computer, I think, but I'll have to get my brother to have a look at it. He'll sort it out.
But doggy determination, Nerisse.
Yeah?
I mentioned this before the show, even though, because not all the viewers know this, Nerisse. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes they don't know. So Nerys does a show, the permaculture show now on a Friday, if my memory serves me right.
Yeah.
And she's done it for show. It's a cracking show, actually. And she sat around some other cracking shows that Friday. It's all started brand new, hasn't it? Pop. You know? It really did. The Friday shows. But the amount of time and effort that goes into it. Like, Nerys is sticking around. She's getting to know the crew, and she's putting the time in here. She's hanging about. And just that dedication on getting her internet sorted out. You know? And it's like, well, it keeps breaking. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. It's wonderful. Susan's very the same. Very similar. Her internet's rubbish. I mean, for her to die, it costs her $10 a gigabyte. For 1 gig, it costs her $10. It's about about £8, I think, maybe £7 English. So that's why you'll see Susan in the room a lot of the time, because you know it costs people around the world a lot of money just to tune in and listen to Dark City. It really does. Now, with that in mind, I'm considering actually burning all the shows previously onto DVDs, and we can give them away. That's come to me because I do know that the bigger the website gets, the more fancy we make it for the rich elite, for us lot, the harder it is for those people in other countries to find out that we do not subscribe to what the government's doing. You know, there's not a lot we can do, but, you know, we do not subscribe to what our so-called governors are actually up to, and I do think it's important. I think before too long, and Britain will be looked at by the rest of the world like the United States. I don't want the rest of the world to start to look at the UK and judge us all. We're not all murdering tyrants. We're not all wrapped up. But I must admit that from their perspective, we're acceptable casualties. That's who we are. We're acceptable casualties. If push comes to shove, they'll just kill us all. Oh, we're in eugenics. What do you mean about eugenics? They just gas us all. They wipe us all out. You know, when Zach said, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? The reptilian shape-shifting New World Order take over and blow up the planet and kill us all. Okay, that's fine. Let's do that. What do you mean? You know, don't worry me. This is only part of our experience we're on. It really is. And again, I go back to that point. It's what's your experience like? I know it ain't great for many of us. I know that. But it's up to us to change it. It really is up to us to change it. Nobody else is going to change you for you. Nobody. Nobody is. The government's definitely not going to do it. And blaming someone else is not going to solve it. It really isn't. Getting angry and frustrated, yeah, get angry, get frustrated, but don't channel it at your brothers and sisters. Don't channel it at the government. If you want to get angry at anybody, get angry at God. Get angry at the sky. Because it won't retaliate. It won't give you any grief. So yeah, right on, Nerys. Proper, dedicated, I'm going to get to the Dark City. And nothing's going to stop me. Not even the bloody internet.
She's like an oak tree, isn't she? Acorn. 900-year-old oak tree. Not going to move. It's there for forever. 900 years.
Wobbling quite bad there, bro. I think we got 900-year-old tree. Are you trying to say she's an old bird, bro? Boy, is that what you're trying to say?
I've got a close affinity with trees. I don't mind that comparison. I'll take that. That's nice.
Yeah, and the knowledge as well of the ancient oak. I was having a bit of fun at Robo there. I was having a bit of fun with it. You never tell a lady how old she is, and you definitely don't tell her she's 400-year-old. But again, you see, it's how you take it, and that's a big thing. It's a big thing. I get this with art. What is art? What is it? To create an emotional reaction or reaction in another. That's what it is. A sculpture does his sculpture. People look at it, wow, check that out. Well, it doesn't really matter. There was an artist, wasn't she? She put a dead cow. Remember the dead cow? And she won a prize for it. And people were like, that's rubbish. Why do we not put a dead cow? They put a dead cow in and they want to put it upside down in it. How the... That is art. You are all having an emotional reaction. That's the work of a genius, you know? Okay, I mean, most people would say that's not artistic. You'd argue about it. But is art not to create a reaction? And if you do create that reaction, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a positive reaction. Why are horror films so popular? Because they trigger people. They trigger their emotion. People get scared, you know? You know, why'd you go to the opera? You know, why'd you go to the theatre? You know, why do we do these things? To trigger our emotions. Art is something we all have. We're all able to trigger one another in some manner. And it's the manner we use, I think, is important. It really is. So yeah, we are artists. Whether we like it or not. All of us are artists. And that, within our education, art, theatre, individuality, divergent thinking, has been bred out of us all. So we can put our masks on here. We can put our masks on here at Darkcity and we can pretend to be who we really are. You know? The race, great permaculture lady from the northern lands of England. You say Susan, the Mindy woman from the Australian clans, and we've got Catwoman, Dawn, you know, Dawn of the Dark City. You know, we can be these. Electro Man. You know, I've got these characters appearing for me. You know, slowly but surely, coming out of the darkness. Is that what we're doing? We're stepping out of the Dark City. We're stepping out of it. We're tearing away these masks we've been forced to wear to be people that we're not. And we're learning, slowly but surely, to be ourselves. To be ourselves. Not to be afraid of that. You know, be loud. You know, get out there and be loud. You know, get noticed. You know, dye your hair a stupid colour. You know, wear your pants too big. Do something out of the ordinary. Be noticed. That's what life's about. You're meant to be noticed. Don't be fearful of it. People, oh, look at him. He's always going up. Fuck him. Fuck him. They're only pointing your finger at you because they're hiding behind their mask. You know, 95% of people who get married, women who get married, men who get married at an early age, they do that, right, because it's the biggest day of their life. They get married so they can be a princess for a day and a prince for a day. Well, I say don't fucking bother and be it every day. Be it every day. You can. We can live like that. We really can. Oh, all right, some people are going to go, you're off your head, Bob. You're crazy. If anybody's actually typing to me in chat, I've just scrolled down. And they'll say you're off your head. Well, yeah, all right, I might be off my head. I might be crazy. And, you know, I wouldn't dispute that. I don't dispute what they say about me. I don't. I'm not arguing with them anymore. You know, I'm happy to be crazy. I'm happy to have personality disorders and said that I'm schizophrenic and I'm this and I'm that and the other. God, I feel like Jacob. I feel like Jacob in a coat of many coats. The labels they've given me. Well, that's right. That's okay. I have got a personality disorder. I live in the 21st century. I live in the 21st century. And if you're all sat there and you're all thinking, oh, well, I'm fine about everything. Everything is really perfect. Then carry on holding that focus for us, brothers and sisters, because the rest of us are lost. If you found that moment of perfection, please hold it as long as you can. Hold it for you. We'll find it. We'll all find it. We'll find it inside ourselves. And together, we will become the change that we're looking for. That's my vision of Darkcity. You've already made it real, my friends. My family. You've already made it real. So, anybody ask me what I want again, please just go back to this podcast and listen to it. I don't have to repeat myself ever again. But without you lot, without the dedication each one of you have shown day in, day out, right, you all know who you are. The ones who've just turned up, the ones who've kicked about and gone away and come back. Without you lot, I wouldn't be living my dream. I'd still be in a nightmare. You make my dream real. That's what you're doing. I'm not going to thank you for it. I'm not. But I'd like you to thank yourselves for everything you've done so far. Have a little bit of a look back in your life. And learn to smile. Because we're all here now, in this moment. And we have already become the change. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing no one can do now. Heard it explained many different ways. Many different ways. I have different explanations to the same thing. Top and bottom of it. Really simple. Your life. Enjoy it. Fulfill it to the best of your ability. You know? Do something preposterous. Do something funny. Do something out of character. Just, you know? Experiment with your life. If you need a guideline, yeah, listen to what many people are saying about the so-called law of the common. It doesn't exist. We've never had a law of the common, right? It doesn't. We've got to create it. You know where law is common to all. Create no loss, no harm, no deception, no breach of thy peace. And don't accept any neither. Okay? It's alright, most of us, we don't want to. We don't go out and create deception. We don't go out and create harm or loss. We don't. But we've accepted it. And I say we've all accepted it for long enough. Let's not accept it anymore. And that is how you break the back of it. Don't fight it at the head. Don't strike it at the root. Step away. And stop becoming the victim. Remove the victim from your consciousness. Don't be one, and don't require one. And if you've got one, or if you sat there now looking at your loved ones and realising what I'm saying, embrace one another. Take one another in your arms now with your loved ones, with your children. Hold them in your arms and just tell them, we're in love. We're in love for this brief moment. We stand here in love for one moment. Because there's no good crying over the graves when it's too late. Tell them now. Let people know. Tell them. Because someday it will be your last day. It will be. For me, every day is. That's why I want you all to know you've made me incredibly proud. I was pretty burnt out when I started this. If it weren't for you lot, I wouldn't have made it. 10 past. Dun, 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 dun. So the truth is an emotional roller coaster. It can take you anywhere. Well, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. The truth is, you are there. You're there. You're always there. Every synchronicity, every single coincidence, everything you've ever done in your life, you were there. You were the coincidence. You are the coincidence in your life. As I am. It's happening to us. Follow it. Follow it. In a sense, that's the universe, the creation, whatever you want to call it, the totality of all things. He's talking to you. He's speaking to you. Okay, it doesn't come up to you and go, oh, hello there, Bob. I'd like to tell you, next Wednesday you need... No. Just follow that. The synchronicity of life itself. I know quite a few have actually already done it. They told me about it. God, that's just crazy. And for most of the time, this happens to us and we ignore it. We ignore it. You know, you're walking down the street and you're thinking about a mate you haven't seen for ages. He just comes into your head, you're sat at home and you think of someone and the phone rings and it's them on the phone. You know, you see somebody on the street and you haven't seen them. I was thinking about them a couple of minutes ago. And you walk right past them. You don't say hello. You don't say anything. What do you think he's going to do? Pick it up and do it all for you? You know, you think when you did this low-level magic and all this and druidry and all that, you think they just go higgity-piggity-piggity-poo and then you get a new car? You've got to be open to receiving it. And I've had this battered into me by some really cool people at the moment because I'm crap at it. I am absolutely crap at receiving anything. I'm rubbish. Absolutely rubbish. But I know that. I know that. So yeah, it's about recognising that in yourself. And sometimes you need people to point it out to you. You really do. When Chris turned up just recently, I mean, Sudam. I mean, have you ever heard this guy, Sudam? I'm going to go through you all now. I heard this guy, Sudam, speak. Have you heard of him? Dead knowledgeable, right? Really kind-hearted guy, you know, and he's been through the mill, and he keeps telling me he's no good at it. I keep having to remind him how brilliant he is. And we've got Chris who's turned up, right? Just like Bob. Oh, yeah, I know. Bob Earthline. Here you go. Jingle, jingle, jingle. I'm learning how to do it. It's really going to get better every time. Brilliant. What can you say to them kind of people? I'm going to mention the server as well, because it tirelessly works for us, and it never judges us. It don't care what we say or what we do. So a little bit. Susan. God, Susan, I'm in roller coaster all over. Been around the globe 3 times. She's travelled more times in the last couple of years than most of us have travelled in a lifetime. And sometimes can't grasp why her feet aren't on the ground. And then Robohippy, you know, silently working 24/7 behind the scenes, clunk, 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 day in, day out. All the time. I have to remind you from time to time that, look mate, you're doing it, and if they can't deliver you the goods when you ask them to deliver it, then you can't do it. You know what he does? He drops what he's doing and goes back and helps them out. Does it every time. Every time. He drops what he's doing and goes back and helps them out. That's why I say to everyone, look, he's working hard. Come through, talk to me. Talk to me, I'll deal with it. If it can be dealt with, talk to me. That's my job here. To go, Dawn, could you kind of do some interviewing and stuff? And could you, I can do Facebook and Twitter as well. And bang, 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 Dawn comes in. Suddenly I can press the button here, I can put a bit of text in, it appears all over the place. Wow. Brilliant. The skill. They don't see it. And right down at the end of my little list here, actually I'm doing the last first and the first last in this sense. Prajna and Kelly. Oh, look, I've met these people. I don't agree with everything they say. I've sat in my house, and I'll tell you something. Couldn't want for better company. You could not want for better company. I got some of them, mate. I can be around other people and not get agitated. It's got nothing to do with me. It really hasn't. As long as you're around people who don't get agitated, then you're all right. It's not mine. We're sharing it. A brilliant couple. You know, down there in a little caravan, what are they asking for? Leave us alone. Let us be happy in this caravan. It's not too much to ask, is it? No? We all know what's going to happen. They'll get in a little caravan, they'll start driving down the road, the fucking filth will pull them up, fucking smash the road again. It breaks my fucking heart. That can go on. But we allow it to go on.
It breaks ours, but only for a little bit. And then we muster up the courage and we're hard at it again, you know. We get a little bit tangled up with them, which brings me back to this police complaints thing that you were talking about earlier. You know, they used to have this thing called the PCC, the Police Complaints Commission, but then they decided it didn't really work because it was completely staffed by police. So then they came up with a brilliant new scheme called the Independent Police Complaints Commission, which was supposedly independent of the police, except that it was staffed mostly by ex-police, you know. Yeah. And now they've admitted that actually that doesn't work anymore, and so they're going to come up with a new body. But this is the thing, they'll come up with a new body and they'll run that for a while and they'll decide that doesn't work, and so they'll think of another name and they'll do it all over again. But it is there, so use it, even though you're not going to get any success with it, not likely to. But do it. And if you do it, there are two ways to make a complaint. You can either accept what's called local resolution, which means that some senior police officer comes along to you and he says, oh, yes, they were very terrible and we're very, very sorry that they behaved so very, very terribly towards you. And we'll make sure that they never do it again. And that's it. So don't accept local resolution, not for any complaint. The other way is that they get an outside police force to investigate the force that you're complaining about. And this is wonderful because it means that there's another police force going over all their books, all their computers, and causing them real hassle, and they hate it. So do this stuff because it costs them a great deal in time. Now, we've been beaten up by cops, and we've had our home taken off and destroyed by cops, and we've had, everything taken away and so on. But the amount of time and the amount of expense that it has cost the police, the councils, the court service, DVLA, and all the rest, this is what we're in it for. This is our way of taxing them back. In the past, it was us that got taxed. Well, we don't pay tax anymore. Now we tax them. Every time they stop us, we tax them. Because as soon as they say something like, you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defense if you fail to, let's say now, something that you later rely on in court, I say, great, roll up your sleeves and lick your pencil. There's rather a lot I'm going to say in my defense, and I'd hate for it to harm my defense in any way if I fail to say now something that I later rely on in court. And then they're required to sit there and listen to you for as long as you can think of things to say and note it all down. Now, I think this is a wonderful form of taxation. I think we should all be doing it in every possible way that we can. Ask them 1,000 questions whenever you're having any interaction with authorities. Ask them 1,001 questions and insist on the answers in writing.
When they ask for your name, ask them, am I obliged to give you my name? Am I under what law or statute am I obliged to give you my name, etc.?
Or
then
even better,
ask them, am I obliged to have such a thing as a name? Under which law am I obliged to have such a thing as a name? Tie them up in knots. Take no shit.
And this is our way. Now, there's another way of doing complaints, and that is to bring out a private prosecution. And, anybody on the planet can be a prosecutor. You can, if you take your complaint to the police, then they hand it over to the CPS, and the CPS becomes a prosecutor. But you don't have to do that. You can be a prosecutor yourself, and you can take them to court yourself. Now, the problem with this is that there's a little caveat that says the Director of Public Prosecutions can take over any case if he thinks it's in the public interest for him to do so. And, he always does think it's in the public interest for him to take over the case, and then he always thinks that it's not in the public interest for the case to go ahead.
Yes.
Which is all very annoying. And another thing I'd like to mention in relation to what Dawn was saying about bedroom tax, in Victorian times, I think it was, they had another tax called the window tax. And you may notice there's a whole lot of houses still with windows built there, but they're all bricked up. And the reason is because they were charging people tax for every window that they had in the house. So they just went and bricked up the windows.
Prajna.
Well, what you can do with this bedroom tax, start taking your fucking bedroom doors off. And then it's not a bedroom anymore. It's part of your open plan house.
I think you're on the...
Who's trying to get in?
I think you're on the right angle, Prajna, right? But there's a limit on the size of a bedroom. Yeah, so just put a petition across it. It's that easy. If you've got children staying there, and they want them to stay there, right, just put a petition down, right, block it off, so you plasterboard, and there's people out there can do it. There's plenty of guys out there at the moment with no work. Get into your community, gather it together. I know it's going to be a little bit of expense to you, but all you need to do is use plasterboard, single skin, and box the room, make it smaller, and it's gone.
It's a really easy job. It's just a stud wall. You just need a timber frame and a bit of plasterboard, and it's done.
And walk-in cupboards is the other thing. You know, maybe the whole idea of this bedroom tax was just that builders were a bit short of work to do, and they decided that everybody needed walk-in cupboards. You can have quite large walk-in cupboards.
Exactly, Prajna. That's exactly where I was going. I'm glad you mentioned it again. When Dawn said it, clicked in my head. I went, we'll just make the room smaller. You know, put a set of double bunk beds in, buy him a cabin bed, because it's too small to be a bedroom. Right, and that it used to be, now I don't know on the size, but it used to be that if you put a single bed in the room and the door hit it, okay, that's a box room. Can't be classed as a bedroom if it won't take a single bed. Move the door. You've got to turn the door around so it opens into the room instead of it. It doesn't matter. There's ways around this, and we've got to be as devious as they have. We really have got to be as devious as they are at this. I mean, and what can you do? What can they do? I mean, them people are going to be paying, what is it? My mate Stevie, he pays £60 a month, £15 a week he has to pay now, because he's got a bedroom, because he needs somebody to stay every now and then. There's actually 2 bedrooms, but one of them's too small, you know, to be a bedroom. It'll only take bunk beds, it won't take a normal bed, so they don't class that. And this is coming to my mind. Let's just put a wall down the middle of it. Put a wall in the middle of the room. It's no wardrobe. It's a walk-in wardrobe. It's not a bedroom anymore. What can they do? You've got a 27-bedroomed house, and all the rooms are too small to put a bed in it. And when you're done, when they've given up with it, once they've been round and inspected your property, take the frigging wall back down. Give it to your neighbour and let your neighbour do the same. Just keep moving the wall about. Let them do it. And what they'll say, oh, well, that's deception. What are you talking about? You're robbing, murdering people in far-off lands and taking tax off us. I'll stand in court and fight you on deception.
Do you know, when we were on a brick site down in Hereford, we were minding this brick site. In fact, Carly was away for the weekend, and a copper came and knocked on my door, and it was a pretty stormy old day. So I kind of grabbed him by the shoulder and dragged him into the van. I said, "Come in. It's cold. I don't want to leave the door open." Coppers are usually a bit hesitant to do that kind of thing, but I sort of caught him off guard. And so he was asking me what I was doing there, and I explained that I was just minding the site and so on. And he said, smells a bit interesting in here. And I said, oh yeah, that'll be my curry spices. I love to cook curry. He said, oh no, not that. I said, oh yes, of course. He said, well, how much have you got? I said, oh, enough to smoke. He said, that's all right then. And he said, I'll assume that your van's all taxed and insured and everything. I said, assume what you like, it isn't, you know. And I said it's insured, but only because I don't want to have that argument. But I'll argue tax any day of the week with anyone. He said, not with me. And that was it. Done. Visit over. And this is the thing. Don't be scared of any of them, and engage them with humor and creativity. Come up with creative solutions to whatever it is that you face, because these buggers in the elite New World Order, pirates that be, or whatever you want to call them, they've got a bit of devious imagination to dream up all these dreadful schemes. But just look at how many of the rest of us there are, and all of the creative nonsense that we can come up with. And this is where Zach and What Army has got it absolutely right on. This is the age for nonsense. Start doing crazy, wacky, off-the-wall things, because they can't handle it. They can't respond to it.
Swirly thing alert. When you were saying Zach and What Army, I didn't know what you were going to say, but I was just typing it in the search engine, Zach and What Army. Just pointing out synchronicity.
That's what Zach's all about, synchronicity. I'm sure of it. A very, very talented guy. If you haven't found him on YouTube yet, go and track him down, because there's some lovely clips. Carly's just sent one to her darling little niece in Australia because it's got this lovely magical turtle. And if you don't know about magical turtles, that's another part of your education that needs addressing.
I actually sent the magical turtle clip to both my elder nieces and with instructions to show their baby sister. And the 18-year-old came back and said, I want whatever he's on. So I explained then that every one of us has a magical turtle within us with which to view the world and see the beauty in everything and da-de-da. And she came back and she said, oh, Kaz, I needed that. Thank you. So that's the magic of the magical turtle.
I'd be a bit careful about explaining this kind of thing to a psychiatrist if they...
I wouldn't. I'll take that one. When you watch Zach and you've watched him a little bit, you will see the turtle is the person he sees himself as. You know, that the turtle is Zach. He's the magical turtle, and he pulls it down and says, I even talk to people like, you're a little magical turtle when I'm going to get my fuel. Put 40 fiat notes in my tank, you little magical turtle. You see, you can drop the mask. You can drop the mask. We can drop that mask whenever we want. And to me, that's what Zach's showing us. You are a magical turtle. It's not Zach. It's not Zach. Let's not go following Zach. All right, support him, yeah. You know, I'm not saying don't support the guy because he's a genius. He's brilliant what he's doing. But let's not put the pressure on Zachy. What an army. And what army. You know, there is quite a lot of people out there now I've come across who get what he's on about. They really get it. I suppose it's a good time if Sudhammer's there. He can come in and tell us what the magical turtle is for Sudhammer, because he comes from a completely different angle on this. But I can see the similarities. I really can. I really can. I don't know if he's up front and centre. But he was showing me from, I think it's Hindu mythology, who the magical turtle is. So, yeah, it's more magical than we can imagine, you know. Zach is just representing that to us. And, yeah, very grateful I am. Very grateful for that. I've looked for magical turtles. Me and Stevie went out the other day around the town centre, and I kept shouting it. They're like, no, Stephen, I'm not going home until I find a magical turtle. And that's it to me. It's part of street theatre, you know. It's taking it out there. It's doing something silly. You know, I'm behaving like a child. I'm not coming home, Stevie. I'm not coming home with the shopping until we've got a magical turtle. Of course, we didn't find one.
Hello.
Oh, you're back. I was just saying about the magical turtle. Oh, you did? Do you want to jump in here, man? And
Kerma, it's one of the many incarnations, special incarnations that God takes. He appeared when the demons and the demigods met, and they had to churn something to make some nectar. Yes, at sea somewhere to make some nectar of immortality. And they were using a mountain to churn the ocean, and a massive snake that they were holding. One side where the demons were, and the other side the demigods were, and they twisted and because the mountain was sinking, Vishnu appeared as Kerma, a magical mystical turtle, and he held the Mount Meru on his back while they churned it, and then this several. I'd have to look up to be exactly right.
Your interpretation's good enough for me, bro. I'm sure it'll enlighten the listeners to dig it out and find it. Right.
Yeah, and that's also, I think the last thing that came out was Danvantari, another incarnation, and he was responsible for Ayurvedic medicine, herbalism.
Yeah, you know what, it is, isn't it, man? You know, we can find these synchronicities, and that's going, just again, man, just so I can highlight a little bit, what Sudhammer, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dan, Sudhammer, this is an incarnation of Krishna, yeah? Or one of the aspects of Krishna. And the Hindu faith, and I'm not into any religions, I think they're all a bit nuts, but hey, they've got a good point. The way they look at it is that Krishna lives in all things. These are stories of aspects. So I mean, we could look at it from the Hindu point of view, is that we are now the stories of Krishna, you know, and the characters that we portray, we've become those aspects of Krishna. So Krishna exists in all things, and that's what they're saying. There is no real good or evil. They have demons and things like that, but they're all aspects of the same thing. So that coming along and now saying in the 21st century, you know, you're all magical turtles is almost the same. You know, like, look, learn from this. You know, let be the turtle, let the mountain sit on your back, churn the ocean. You know, allow it to churn around you. But I think we can use these stories or these news bulletins of the past to actually have a look at what we're doing. But we have to be careful with looking at it from our perspective here now, in the 21st century, looking back thousands of years with our perspective. You see, one of these things is slavery. We look back and we think that all cultures had slaves, that they all enslaved their enemies and so forth. And now modern day archaeological finds and historians are actually starting to say, well, actually, it looks like it's a lot easier for people to work cooperatively, and slavery is a modern day ideology and perspective. And we are looking back at, say, ancient Egypt or even further back, and we're saying, oh, well, they built it with slaves. Stonehenge was built with slaves. No. The ideology of slavery didn't even exist. So, somebody's saying, oh, is it a pledge? I thought it was a please. I thought somebody was trying to get in there. Please jump in, crew, if you want to add or you want to jump in.
I just found a piece of found it to read. It says Purana scripture indicates that the sage Devasa has given a garland to Indra, king of gods. Indra placed the garland around his elephant, but the animal trampled it, insulting the sage. Devasya then cursed the gods to lose their immortality, strength, and divine powers. After losing the kingdom of heaven, they approached Vishnu for help. He advised that they drink the nectar of immortality to regain their glory. To obtain it, they needed to churn the ocean of milk. A body of water so large they needed Mount Mandara as the churning staff, and the serpent Vasuki as the churning rope. The body of water so large they needed Mount Mandala. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the same thing again. The Devas, which is demigods, were not strong enough to churn on their own and declared peace with their foes, the Asuras, which is Sanskrit for demons, to enlist their help. Finally, Mount Mandala churned, but the force was so great the mountain began to sink and the ocean of milk into the ocean of milk. Taking the form of the turtle Kurma, Vishnu bore the mountain on his back as they churned the waters. 14 precious things arose from the turbulent ocean, culminating with Dhanvantari, the physician of the gods, who brought with him the nectar of immortality. The Asuras immediately took the nectar and quarrelled amongst themselves. Vishnu then manifested himself as the beautiful Mohini and tricked the Asuras to retrieve the potion, which he then distributed to the Devas. Though the Asuras realised the trick, it was too late. The Devas had regained their powers and were then able to defeat their foes. It just goes on to say...
Oh, no, you don't have to go on. You don't have to go on. You've finished. No. Perfect. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And they regained their powers and defeated their foes.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't
it? In it. And I do get that almost... Like I say, man, you're using a different words, a different language, really, to give us this.
Well, I don't actually follow Hinduism. To me, Hinduism is just a name that's been given to a path, really, to try and make it into a religion. To me, it's just Sanatan Dharma, which just means natural path or eternal path, eternal way.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it, man. Really is. But I get also that, Zach saying, with his little magical turtle, his interpretation, is almost of the same thing. When you get right up to that, and they got their power and defeated their foes, you know, and they used the magical turtle. How similar.
Yeah, definitely. I like that video. It made me laugh.
So anyway, Zach's about. I know he's got a lot on. We've got friends who are well, I've got who's become quite a close friend of mine now, a mate. He's become a mate of mine now. He's quite close to Zach. He's a member of what army? And yeah, we'll try and get Zach on, and we'll have to ask him if he actually pinched it. Did he pinch it, or is he just actually channeling a very similar ideology? A very similar ideology. Go on, mate.
There's a good chance that he could either be one or the other, really, isn't it? If he's spent any time working on himself, then there's a good chance it's been shown him.
Yeah, I get where you're going there with that, man. Definitely, there's a good chance. But I suggest it wouldn't be one or the other. I suggest it will be something completely different beyond anything we've ever grasped. And when you actually look at that, like I say, I've sat and I've gone through his stuff. And it happens with me that. Somebody shows me something, and when I go to bed at night, I put them on. It's about the only little bit of time I get recently to actually look at some of the stuff that's coming in and listen to it and hear it. And I've done that with Zach. I did it with a while ago with It's Rupert and woke up laughing. I remember going to sleep and waking up laughing. And that's what I reckon it's about. That's positive art, if you like. It triggers creativity inside yourself. And not even the dead cow upstairs, the dead cow upside down, in formaldehyde. It triggered loads of people to go out and be better artists. I could do better than that. Well, go on then.
Paul, did you notice that that Scott in chat has asked, can you talk a bit about council tax, please? Well, I don't know if we've really got anyone who's up on the latest on campaigning against council tax at the moment. I think it's probably a whole programme in itself.
All right, I've got a solution for council tax. Give up your job. Give up your job. Don't work. You don't have to pay it. There you go. Is that too easy?
Hey. I got a letter from the council tax the other day. I'll just try and find it. But the amount they're saying they're going to take the reduction, it looks like I'm going to have to pay something, even though I'm not working.
Well, I got mine. Mine now says my property is exempt. Well, thank you very much. You've agreed eventually. I don't know how that's happened, but it doesn't say that I'm exempt. It says my property is exempt.
I can say something on council tax, how useful it might be. Well, the research is still ongoing, but Simon Spaniard of White Rabbit did come across a piece of legislation, the 1888 Local Government Act, which clause, I think it's 72 or 74,
76, Section 2, I think.
States that all liabilities and duties of the people of a county become the liabilities and duties of the council of that county. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit confusing, because that piece of that particular clause, as it stands, is unrepealed and unchanged. However, back in the 80s, many of the county councils were dissolved, abolished, and many actually remained in place. Boundaries were changed and stuff to make it as confusing as possible. But so there are still some county councils in existence. And where there are no county councils, it seems that there are these things called unitary authorities in existence. So it's probably just a name change. It's going to take a little bit of creative thinking, I think, to find the way around this, to actually use this legislation for our benefit. But it can be done of that, I'm quite sure. But yeah, the first port of call is the 1888 Local Government Act, which states that all duties and liabilities of the people of a county become the duties and liabilities of the council of that county. Then, get creative if you live somewhere where there is still a parish council, but I don't think there are any such things now. Then the parish council will take the liabilities and duties. But yeah, a little bit of creative thinking and quite a bit more research on what actually happened in the 80s when many county councils were dissolved and became unitary authorities. It's a bit of a minefield. It's a difficult one to research. So get out there. We need all hands on deck.
And start asking questions of all your local councillors and everybody like that about this. Ask them to explain it. They won't be able to. But it will give them a lot of work to do, and it might educate them in the process. So go for it.
Yeah. There's a lot of people.
If you have got any doubt in your mind about the nature of councils, visit Ashton-under-Lyne and go into the council offices there. You don't need anybody to describe it. Just have a look what's stood right in the middle of the council offices and go and research it. I've shown it you, Prajna and Callie. We took you in, if I remember rightly.
We've seen the one at Ashton
with the
for
Black
sure.
Knight.
The Black Knight, the Knight of Malta, one of the assassins of the Vatican. That is who the council revere. A murdering, cutthroat, rapist, paedophile. And they decided that would be a good representation of the town. Do you need to know any more? You need to know who these people, who they play, their effigies, what they bow to. Sean, it's all over. The Masonic symbology in this town is phenomenal. It's everywhere, absolutely everywhere, old and new. Like I say, the Masons, magical powers, and all sorts like this, mumbo jumbo, low-level sorcery. There are techniques you can use where you can learn to focus on yourself and you can manipulate energy into any form you choose. Simply with your thought. You don't need to go through the rituals that they do. You don't need to get other people to give energy over to you to be able to do these rituals. You see, when they do it, it's called a religion. When we do it, it's called a cult, black magic. When Coca-Cola do it, it's called a logo. When you do it, it's called a magical symbol. What is the difference? What is the difference? We don't have a logo for Darkcity. There is no Darkcity logo. If there is one, it's the Shadow Warrior. That's the logo. Because let's not forget where we come from. Let's not forget who we are. We don't have to be proud of it. We don't. But let's not forget, we are here now. Right here, having this conversation. Because we got there on the backs of war. On the backs of slavery. Let's climb off the back of that animal. Let's climb onto the back of the magical turtle. Let it be our story. And let it not be for writing down in books. Let it not be for telling. Let our story be one of doing. And that's already been done. We have done it. We have done it. It's in a short space of time. But we've done it.
I agree, Paul. I just got a message from someone called Fatima, and she's like a single mum with 2 kids. And she's ill, so she'll be on disability and things. And she just said that the council tax, it sucks. I got to pay £15 a month, even though she don't work.
Right, she must be in some... Right, there's ways around this. There's things you can do with your council tax, and I've done this. You need to make a note on your bin being emptied. You need to make a note in your local area about the response times and certain things of the police and It is a contract. They have got to do what they're contracted to do, and if they don't adhere to that contract, you can get a rebate. Right? Have a look. It's another angle. I have a little, like, we call them ginnels in England. It's a little passageway that runs between terraced houses. Now, because I didn't agree with what was poll tax, which became council tax, I stood and demonstrated against that in Manchester. Completely orchestrated bag of bullshit. I actually went and became a part of the anti-poll tax league, and we were all going to work together. And when it came to me to go to court, they turned around and said, "Good luck." That was it. He's like, "All right, I could have done that without your help." You know? So he did. I mean, they were do-gooders, but normally political people with political ideologies of their own, trying to persuade people to fight against the government, only to have another government put into place. And we're seeing these. We are seeing these. Oh, well, look, this will be better. How can it be better if it's exactly the same thing and you're implying that you're going to do exactly the same thing as what's been done before and expect it to be different? To me, that's ludicrous. It really is. And we have to do something different. We really do. Like I say, I actually think that this war's over. The battle we've all been going through, and it has been a battle, it has been a war. I actually say it's over. It really is. I mean, and now what are they doing? They're going around, oh, they're going to do bedroom tax, they're going to do this, they're going to... Do you know, 50 years ago, we'd all be at war now. I mean, I know we are, but, you know, it'd be another world war. They would have orchestrated a world war. They can't get away with it. We're like, no, stick it up your ass, what? What, you blew up a trade? You blew up a few buildings, and you want us to all murder one another so you can make more money? Suck this, Mr. Big Man. You know, no thanks, they can't do it. They've manipulated us to hate people. They're trying to turn so many people against Muslims. Most of the Muslims in Britain, you know, paid to get here. The government's still selling them it. Go and have a look outside Britain. Oh, come to Britain. Come and have a job. It's a great immigration. Yeah, give us 21,000 euros. What? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people miss this. Oh, they're coming over here and saying they're paid. They're paid. And in that world of, if you've got enough tokens, you can do it, they've got more rights than we have. Because they're paid. We haven't paid. Or have we? That'd depend on how you judge it. How you judge it. What you're worth, your weight, your value. You. I mean, personally, I'm priceless. You can't buy me. There's not enough money in the world. You know, you can't buy me for anything. Simple as that. But, you know, you look at that yourself, you know, and I'll say you'll get down to the amount of effort and time that you have to put into it. And that's what I'd say is across the board. Because, you know, we all do different things, you know. We can't all go and live in Prajna and Kelly's caravan. Okay? We can't do that. We live in different houses. We've got different things, you know, and I want to promote different. You know, different. Well, let's all stop being so serious. Again, what you mentioned about nonsense. You see, there is no sense. There's no sense to it. There isn't. You know, when people look at things, oh, I don't know, I can't work it out, it's too complicated. I mean, Bitcoins. I had a great conversation today about Bitcoins. And I don't know if people want to go back and look through it. I know I ain't got time to do it, but I'm sure I told people to get into Bitcoins maybe when I were on Revolution Radio. And I said to them, look, if you want to pay for your station, right, stop buying all that shit you think you need now. Invest it in Bitcoins, right, and give it a go. Just give it 3 months. Bitcoins are just short of £50 each. I think they're £49 something today. Darkcity just made another 200 quid. And you know how we made that 200 quid? Because of the instability of all the other currencies around the world. Bitcoin's become stable. You know, the more insecure they become, the stronger Bitcoin gets. The more they fight Bitcoin, the more insecure they become. So my jury is not back on Bitcoin. It really isn't. It really isn't what it's all about. It's either the cleverest worm virus that's ever been devised. It's a reverse pyramid, and the way it works, they'll become less and less and less. That means they must become more and more value. if you're worried about your poll tax, you're worried about paying 20 or 30 quid about stuff, you can't afford to get in. You really can't. Not now they've inflated bitcoins at £50 a piece. How do the poor be able to? The real people. So at Darkcity, we will do our best to amass as many of them things as we can, just in case. Yeah. So, what's it all about? What's it all about? As far as Bitcoin is concerned, it's been, to me, the lesson there is being prepared to at least try an alternative. Like I say, a lot of the times you'll lose out. One way or another, you'll lose out. But that's what we call research. At least we've bloody done the alternative, and we know. Give them a chance. And Bitcoin, like I say, is either the best worm virus, it's going to bring down every fiat currency in the world, or it's just the banks having us over again. Whichever way you look at it, if you're looking at that financially, which it really is about, we can't say that money is not now an energy, because it is, it's part of it, whatever it may be. So if we're looking at that just in finances, then we just missed an opportunity. We missed an opportunity. In this case, you could be bailing out now. If you would have invested £100 before Christmas, that would be now worth £600. Is that right? Yes, that's right. Well, today's price, well, more than that actually. That's at £40. So it'd be more like £700. That's £100 at Christmas. You'd now be worth £700. So if people hadn't thought I was a crack smoking lunatic, that would have just paid for the station. The way we run it for about what? Well, it'd pay for a whole year easily, or whatever we wanted for what we're doing now. As we close the last of it, we're getting up towards the end of the hour. I'm happy to run on if you people want to, but we don't want to give Robohippy too much work to do we? Behind the scenes again, and we've lost him. Sell off.
I'm all right. I'm all right. I've been creative.
Whoa.
I've put a magical turtle on the website, but I'm not telling you where it is.
Brilliant.
There's a magical turtle. Let us know if you find the magical turtle somehow, some way. But there's a magical turtle on the website.
Nice one, mate. Nice one. I was going to do the graphics as well, but I've got there, yeah. I've got a queue up. I've got a queue, and it's really good. If you do want one of the avatars doing, and you're on one of the shows, and you want me to do one of them and include you, give me your superhero character. I'll take your superhero character and I'll twist it around and make it look more like you than the superhero. And let's get you up there. I'm still happy to do that. I have got a little bit behind it. I have got a couple more I've got to do. But yeah, just keep them coming and then remind me, and I'll sort them out. I'm happy to do that. I do enjoy it. It's my little bit of creativity.
Robo's got a new link to the archives as well. We've got archives.darkcityradio.com. It's a new way to find all the old podcasts and things.
Yeah, last little thing, I've been not mired. I mean, people are right. I pointed out I'm not very good at the receiving thing of it. We are at a stage now where we can put the next server in. We are actually swapping over hard drives from the backup server, which works brilliant, I might add. But we're having to switch hard drives over. We're ready to build the next server now. So we need £150 to do that. We will get it. Like I say, we will get it, but I've been asked to kind of allow people to know where we're at and if we need stuff, so that's where we're at the moment. There is a donate button. It is hidden. It's like a magical circle, so if you do want to help, then let us know and we'll get that sorted. Like I say, free radio for me is what we pay for the internet and what the equipment costs. So. And I will break down. Some people have asked me what it's cost already. There's other people wanting to do this. We've had a few inquiries coming in, and we will break it down. It is difficult because I'm not being evasive. It's because we already had a lot of shit before we started, and that's how we work here. Myself and Stevie, who you hardly ever hear. He puts loads of time and effort in. You never hear from the guy. and myself, Stevie, and Robo, we had quite a lot of equipment between us, and by working together collectively, it gives you that. It gives you more. That's what you get. What is it? The sum of the parts are. What is it? The full sum is greater than the collective of the parts, or something. Legion. Yeah, we'll check that out. So yeah, that's where we're at actually with Darkcity at the moment. We have perfected the Linux server thing. I know a lot of people have been interested in that, and I do agree with it. All right, I know people think I'm reluctant and I want to stay with Windows. No, I agree with being it free open source. I really do. So yeah, we'll push through with that. The reason, I mean, people have said, well, 150 quid, it's not a lot of money really. No, it isn't, because we build them. We go and buy the components and build them. We did try to make them out of old parts, and we ended up having to go and buy it and build it anyway. So yeah. Anybody else want to throw something in? Got about 3 minutes to the top of the hour. You want to say good night or bye-bye?
Found the turtle.
You've what? You found the turtle?
Found the magical, mystical turtle, yes.
Don't tell anybody, right?
I won't.
I think Robohippy's giving you a tip, or he's rubbish at hiding his turtle.
Psychopathic misery monkeys.
Right.
None of them.
I tell you what we'll do. We'll finish it with Zach. He's in the crew list, and I'll stick Zach on to take us out. If my eyes will focus on this screen. Excuse me. Where are you, Zach? There you are. God Fractal from Zach. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.